After a stormy weekend, the Marlins and Anibal Sanchez are hoping to straighten things out. The Nationals are racing into South Florida. Of course, Ryan Zimmerman can be a handful, but hey, he's got a new running buddy. Jason Worth now calls the Beltway home. Nats and Fish. The second series of 2011, the Washington Nationals arrive for a three-game set. The Marlins and the Nationals getting ready to go. The Fish trying to bounce back, and the Nationals trying to bounce back. Both teams went 1-2 for their season opening weekend series. First look at a new look Nationals team. Anibal Sanchez makes start number 1 for the Fish. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. It's an email and Twitter Tuesday tonight, so you can be part of the show as well. And both teams, Tommy, really want to get the taste of last weekend out of their mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Marlins, the fact that they open at home, you get that first series out of the way. You have the day off to kind of settle into your apartment, wherever you're going to live in South Florida. Now it's time to really get down to business to play against a ball club that does have a new look.
I think a lot of people, just because of the way the Marlins played on Sunday, overlooked the fact that GABY Sanchez had a really nice opening series. I know Mike Stanton has been the big headline story, but GABY's kind of flying under the radar.
Well, Mike's been the headline story because he hasn't played. GABY's been a story because this guy comes to play all the time. He played in 151 games last year. He led all Major League rookies in doubles, RBIs, extra base hits, and total bases. Hit 19 home runs last year, 85 RBIs. He's gotten off to a terrific start. And one thing, in talking to his hitting coach, John Maley, he's a grinder at the plate. He gives you a good at-bat all the time. John Maley had a great line about GABY Sanchez. He said he does not take a pitch off. Doesn't take a pitch off. That means every pitch he's grinding at the plate, and that's why he's gotten off to a good start.
This is the debut for both starting pitchers, Jason Marquis and Anibal Sanchez. For Sanchez, if he can follow up on his numbers last year, the Marlins will be very happy.
And if he can follow up on his numbers against the Washington Nationals. Sanchez 5-0 in his career against Washington with a 2.28 ERA. Tough year last year for the veteran Jason Marquis. He had bone chips removed from his elbow. He's healthy. Everybody tells us he's throwing pretty well.
So it's Marquis and Sanchez. Nationals and Marlins meet for the first time this year. Jason Worth, now a National. Get used to it for the next 7 years. We'll discuss. Baseball night in South Florida as the Fish and the Nationals get ready to go. Game one of a 3-game series. The Nationals trying to retool, trying to rebuild, and they added on with an enormous piece in the offseason. For more of that, let's go out to Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine.
Can you say cha-ching, Rich Waltz? $126 million for Jason Worth. No question, a very good player. But he didn't have to be the man in Philadelphia with Howard and Utley in front of him and Rollins getting on base. He was a fifth guy, sixth guy in the lineup, depending on what day it was. A career .272 hitter, Niner. God bless him, $126 million, but he's going to be a bigger factor and has to be to live up to that contract, which may be difficult to do.
Well, you know, the Washington Nationals really wanted to go out this offseason and get one of the marquee free agents available, and he was it. He was one of the marquee free agents available, and I think one of the reasons they got him is Mr. Worth hits a career .307 at Nationals Ballpark. So they're probably, you know, you only saw them 18 times a year before this year, which are only 9 home games. But now they get him for a full 81-game schedule, and that could really mean a lot of runs. Another thing they got him for is his patience. He's 4.37 pitches seen per at-bat, ranked 3rd in Major League Baseball. So he really works his at-bats. He's a high on-base percentage type guy. He does everything really well. You know, he's a good outfielder. He's a good base runner. He steals bases. He works the count. He's hitting for average the last few years. He can hit you 25, 30 home runs. So he's kind of a complete package. You know, is he worth it? We don't know. I mean, time will tell. But I think it was a great signing for this team. Veteran presence they're going to have at 31 years old. It's going to be 38 at the end of this contract. You know, we'll see what happens there. But I actually got to play with him. He was a first-round pick for Baltimore when I was in Baltimore.
Right?
And he's a gamer. Yeah. He goes out there and he plays hard every day.
That's what you like to see for that. And obviously going from a really home run-friendly park in Philly to a very spacious park in D.C. We'll see if that affects his home run power.
But number 1 in the league last year with 46 doubles, too. So he's going to get a lot of extra base hits that way.
Well, he's a big addition to this Nationals lineup, but I think people kind of overlook. They hear the Nats, you think it's an easy win? No, this lineup, it was tough last year. It's probably even tougher this year. LaRoche, excellent in defense. They're more athletic this year. You won't see their fine up-the-middle combo, and Desmond Espinosa in this game as Alex Cora gets a start, among others. We'll get going, too. Game 1 of this 3-game series coming up next.
Jerry Hairston gets set to climb into the batter's box. There's a look at Anibal Sanchez. His numbers last year, he led the Marlins in innings and starts.
A nifty ERA, 13-12. As Tommy has pointed out, against the Nationals, he has been dynamite. And Hairston takes a fastball up. Jerry Hairston getting the start at second base. Jim Riggleman, the skipper of the Nationals, taking this ball game as a chance to give his middle infielders the night off. Donnie Murphy gobbles up a ground ball, fires it across in time, and there's one out. So there's no Ian Desmond, there's no Danny Espinosa. Instead, it's Hairston. Jason Worth coming plateward now. Ryan Zimmerman, followed by Adam LaRoche. He's another new National this year. Mike Morse is a local guy. Rick Ankiel, also a local kid here in South Florida. Wilson Ramos will do the catching. Alex Cora, the shortstop. And Jason Marquis is on the mound. And here is Worth, who was 4 for 12 in the opening series. The Nationals lost 2 of 3 to the Atlanta Braves. Sanchez fires a fastball for a strike.
Rich, I don't know if Jason Worth was excited to face Anibal Sanchez. Maybe he's feeling with a different uniform that he's wearing it might help, but just 2 for 19 in his career against Sanchez.
Sanchez, as you pointed out, he's 5-0 and an ERA of 2.28 in 13 starts against the Nationals. And there are some individuals, and Worth obviously wasn't part of that, being a Philly. 0-2 coming. Wow. 95.
Wow, 95 from Anibal Sanchez. You don't see that too often. He just blew away Jason Worth.
Marlins defensively tonight.
Well, we'll check it out. There's Lomo and Coughlin and Emilio Bonifacio in the outfield. Donnie Murphy back in there in the starting lineup. Hanley and Infante up the middle. Gabby Sanchez at first, and John Buck will be handling Anibal Sanchez.
Zimmerman takes a fastball that's in. Here's a look at that last pitch to Worth.
Free and easy is Sanchez throwing, and he threw a fastball 95. You don't see that too often from him.
Zimmerman takes a slider down low. Jeff Conine pointed out on Marlins Live that for Sanchez, he started the year last year at about 91, 92 with his fastball, but by the end of the year was up in the mid-90s, 95. And, of course, the shoulder, that was the big injury for Sanchez. He had the labrum surgery in 07 and spent most of 08 and 09 coming in and out of the rotation, rehabbing and battling that shoulder injury.
Well, we've talked about his career against the Nationals. Last year alone, his ERA in 4 starts against Washington was 1.05.
Three-one coming to Ryan Zimmerman, and he takes inside. He is aboard. Zimmerman really hasn't had a lot of help around him in his career. He did have Adam Dunn for a while, but Dunn is gone. Replaced at first base for Jim Riggleman by a better glove, maybe obviously not as potent a bat, in Adam LaRoche, and it's LaRoche that stands in with Zimmerman at first.
Jim Riggleman has managed the Padres, the Cubs, Seattle, and just 1 year on his contract here in Washington.
When Riggleman started last year, he had one of the most dysfunctional rosters in the National League. It was a roster that was filled with outfielders. Didn't have a lot of versatility. This is a much better balanced roster for a manager to work with.
Yeah, he's excited about the roster. Much more athletic is the way he put it.
LaRoche rips one in a right center field. Over for it is Coughlin. He'll pick it up. Zimmerman's on his way to third. And Adam LaRoche, who normally gets off to a slow start, has his 3rd hit of the season. And so a walk and a single, and here comes Michael Morse. It's an email and a Twitter Tuesday. For emails, go to foxsportsflorida.com, click on the Marlins link, and then just scroll down. There it is. Email the booth. Send us your question. We'll give you the Twitter information in a moment as well.
Yeah, you've been up here tweeting for the last hour.
How about that? Who knew?
This is an inning, Rich, that you don't want to let slip away. Anibal Sanchez got the first two hitters, but then a 2-out walk to Zimmerman and the base hit by LaRoche. You want to stop things here. You'd hate to see this inning slip away.
Is it just me, or does Michael Morse get bigger every year? He is enormous. And Morse, a Nova High School product in Davie. He's 29 now. This is his 12th professional season. And I think really maybe his first shot at a starting job and a chance to play an entire season.
And it was because Morse took over in left field and Ankiel had a pretty good spring that the Nationals traded away Niger Morgan to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Sanchez now 2-0 on Morse with LaRoche and Zimmerman at the corners. Good fastball got in on him. Morse with the White Sox, they were the team that drafted him originally. He was traded to Seattle quickly thereafter in a rather large trade that involved Freddie Garcia, Miguel Olivo, and then traded to Washington after 5 years in the Seattle organization back in 2009. 98 games last year. He had 15 homers in 98 games. Lines it into left field, a base hit, and the Nationals score first. The 2-out walk gets to Anibal Sanchez.
You could almost say Morse is maybe out of the mold. Maybe not with the injuries that Jason Worth had, but a late bloomer like a Jason Worth. He's strong. He's able to muscle that pitch. It ran in pretty good and got in on the hands, but Morse strong enough. He hit it well into left field.
It's a great point because Worth really didn't get a chance to play every day, mostly because of injuries, until he was in his late 20s in Philadelphia. And here is Ankiel. He takes a swing and a miss. The Marlins saw Ankiel at the tail end of last year when he popped up with the Atlanta Braves. 47 games with Atlanta once he was traded from Kansas City, and he appeared in the postseason with the Braves.
You were talking about it, Rich. This game for the Nationals does have a local flavor. Ankiel, Port St. Lucie. You talked about Mike Morse. Alex Cora out of the University of Miami. Sean Burnett down in their bullpen out of Wellington High School.
1-1 pitch. Runners bluffed. Buck came up, and Morse dives back into first base.
That's a good play, but a tough play because you have a left-handed hitter, so it's a tougher throw for the catcher. But a lot of times, because you have the left-handed hitter, the runner doesn't see what the catcher's doing. And because he really couldn't get off a throw, John Buck wisely held on to the baseball.
Live fastball there. Fastball command for Sanchez was not there in the at-bat for Ryan Zimmerman, and Sanchez had 2 quick outs. Hairston bounced out. Worth punched out on 3 pitches. A walk to Zimmerman and singles by LaRoche and Morse. He's 2-2 on Ankiel. Change up. Coughlin's going to have to go a ways to get this one, and he dives and makes the catch. Chris Coughlin in left center field. Stuck the landing and held the ball.
español oprimiendo el botón del zap.
Nationals have a run. The Marlins coming up. Here's their lineup. Chris Coghlan after that great catch. Omar Infante's at second. Hanley Ramirez at short. No Mike Stanton. Marlins are hoping by the weekend Stanton will be back in the lineup. He is available to pinch hit. So Gaby's in the cleanup spot. Lomo in left. Sean Buck will do the catching. Donnie Murphy back in the lineup. Emilio Bonifacio is in right. And Sanchez will hit ninth. Those numbers reflecting the 3-game series against the Mets. And here is Marquis, a veteran right-hander, did not have a good year last year, both on the field and on the operating table. He had bone chips removed in the middle of the season from that right elbow.
Yeah, that's why you see the 13 starts, but you also saw the note, pretty solid pitcher in some years where he was healthy. And that's the kind of pitcher the Nationals hope they have this year.
Coghlan takes down low, and it's 2-0. Chris Coghlan, a 1-for-12 start to the season, 3 walks and a couple of strikeouts. And he pulls that ground ball foul down the first base line.
And Cogs, of course, getting to come to the plate after making that tremendous catch in center field.
Well, he's shown us in 3+ games, Tommy, that he has the athleticism to play center field. He has the foot speed. He's a faster runner than Cody Ross. The question is, can he get the breaks and take the routes? That was a very good route on that ball.
Because that ball off a changeup was hit well by Ankiel.
And that ball's hit well off the bat of Coghlan. Chris around first. He's digging for second. Worth has a good arm. And Coghlan is just in there. Cogs is probably not running at 100% quite yet. He's close. But Worth went into the corner and came out with a great throw.
Well, his ball is crushed on a beautiful swing by Chris Coghlan. Worth is able to get over. He kind of circles, gets a nice route to the ball, and then comes up with that strong arm. Makes it a lot closer than I thought it would be at second base. Let's see what Omar Infante does to think about getting Chris Coghlan over to third base. There are a lot of different ways he can do it.
Marquis to the plate, and Infante fouls it off. 3-for-12 was Infante in that Mets series. Marquis is a guy, a veteran certainly, but all throughout his career he struggled against the Marlins, and obviously the names and the faces and the bats have changed while he's been in the big leagues. But his career ERA is 6.62 against the Fish. There's a nice bunt. Zimmerman charging, gloving, and throwing quickly. And Infante will have a sacrifice, and that puts the onus on Hanley to drive in the run.
First time swing by Infante, a great jump there by Ryan Zimmerman. After the swing, Omar decides, all right, this is the best bet. Let me drop down a bunt. Zimmerman, you talk about jumps from outfielders, jumps when you're stealing a base. That was a jump by a talented third baseman to get to that bunt quickly and make the play.
Zimmerman won the Gold Glove in 2009. So here's Hanley. You can see the infield is back. So a ground ball here produces a run and ties the game. And Coghlan just waiting at third base. Hanley has yet to drive in a run this year. 3-for-14 in the Mets series. Marquis gets a strike on the inside part. And it's 0-1. Look at the career numbers against the Nationals for Hanley. And Hanley's one of the guys that has had individual success against Marquis. 471 in his career. When runs further inside.
Well, you saw Hanley's career numbers. It's another reason that Mike Stanton has missed in this lineup. Mike, in his brief time with the Marlins, 380, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs against Washington.
Stanton available to pinch hit. Marlins are hoping by the weekend he's back in the lineup. Hanley lays off that one, and now it's 2-1.
Marquis trying to work Hanley inside. Got a lot of pitches, bone chips. We talked about them being removed in 2010. He has all 4 pitches, and when it comes to the plate, he's a left-handed hitter. He's a very good hitter.
Let's see when Hanley gets 2-1. Lines it out of play.
Right now, you get a feel and you look at hitters. In the series against the Mets, there were a number of at-bats that it just looked like Hanley's timing wasn't quite there yet. He was late on a lot of pitches. Not quite on that one, behind that one a little bit. So sometimes it takes a game or 2 or 3 to get in that groove that you want to at the beginning of the season.
Everything has been straight to Hanley so far. That one had a little bend to it, and Hanley thought it was in. Bill Welke is the home plate umpire.
I think Fox Tracks will have this pitch off the plate. I don't think it's a strike.
That's well off.
Well off the plate. It did move. It was kind of a two-seamer. It was 86 miles an hour. Hanley has a beef. Unfortunately, it came with a man at third and less than 2 out.
So a generous strike for Marquis. And here is Gaby. And that's a strike. It's Wilson Ramos behind the plate and not Pudge.
Well, what a great start for Gaby Sanchez.
6 hits, 3 doubles in that series against the Mets. Pulls that one foul. And quickly it's 0-2. Nationals line up this way defensively.
Yeah, they have some changes. Jim Riggleman wanting to get some guys in the lineup. Morse, Ankiel, and Worth in the outfield. Zimmerman and LaRose at the corners. Up the middle, Alex Cora, Jerry Hairston Jr. And as Rich just pointed out, Wilson Ramos behind the plate. So we're not seeing Ian Desmond at short.
Danny Espinosa getting a night off. Gaby drives that ball to left field, hits it pretty well. Morse feeling for the wall, leaping and making the catch. So the Marlins got a runner at third with 1 out, but couldn't get him in, and it's 1-0. Sanchez in the first. In the second, Wilson Ramos takes a strike. Ramos to be followed by Alex Cora, then Jason Marquis. Ramos, a guy that the Nationals are very high on, and they are hoping he will be their everyday catcher this year. Bangs one into center field. He had 3 hits in his Nationals debut, and he opens up with a single to center. He was a top prospect for the Minnesota Twins when Joe Nathan went down and the Twins needed a closer. Matt Capps went from Washington, and Ramos is the guy that the Nationals got back.
Yeah, the Nationals are stocked pretty well. They also have in the minor leagues, he's had some injury problems. He's healthy now, is Jesus Flores.
Here is a familiar face to South Floridians and to baseball fans. Alex Cora, look at that, 14 years in the big leagues. He's 35 now. Last year with the Mets, and 4 games with the Texas Rangers.
Originally drafted by the Dodgers out of the University of Miami in the 3rd round.
In fact, I thought his brother Joey was going to be the first Puerto Rican-born manager in baseball. Joey is the bench coach for Ozzie Guillen.
One of Ozzie's coaches, yeah.
And has been a candidate and has interviewed for some managerial spots. And many feel will make a very good manager someday. But Edwin is first. Alex and I were talking about Joey, and he said, well, he has to manage Ozzie, so he's getting
experience.
He's getting good experience. Here's the 2-1.
Well, you figure also not only managing Ozzie when Ozzie stays in games, but when Ozzie gets ejected, he gets the opportunity too.
Two and two. Sanchez got the first 2 outs of the first, but a 4-pitch walk to Zimmerman. Adam LaRoche and Michael Morse followed with singles to knock in a run.
Sanchez got 2 outs on 5 pitches in the first inning. Then it took him 16 pitches to finally get that 3rd out, and a great play in center.
There's a